identifier of women, having tweeted things like, "Ugly girls hurt my eyes." In tons of Dan's posts, he can be seen with topless or naked women, once boasting to have slept with 16 women in 12 days. But is there more to the man? Today, we look at 11 things you didn't know about Dan Bilzerian.
Number 11.
Dan's one rich man. The 35-year-old's net worth is sitting between $100 to $150 million. It fluctuates from interview to interview, but at the moment it looks like it's around $150 million. He admits he received money in a trust fund from his father, but hasn't said how much. He claims he's won over $50 million, yes, $50 million in poker games, with a whopping $10.8 million in his biggest win. Even in college, he said he was making $90,000 a week, sometimes playing poker. He crowned himself as the Bill Gates of poker. You may not like him, but don't be a hater. This man knows how to stack his chips. He also bet $2.3 million in poker chips on a coin flip and lost.
Number 10.
Dan's beard began his rise to fame. If only it could talk. Yup, it wasn't his poker skills or crazy amounts of money, but a viral video of him in the background of a poker tournament having his beard stroked by an adoring woman, while mind you, in the foreground, $7 million was at stake. It's no wonder when offered $100,000 by an unnamed Facebook founder to shave off his lucky charm, he turned it down. Ironically, a month after turning down the $100K, he shaved his beard off anyway for a movie role.
Number 9.
Dan's father, Paul Bilzerian, was a corporate raider who reportedly made hundreds of millions of dollars. The SEC won a $62 million judgment against Paul Bilzerian, but after 25 years have only managed to collect $3.7 million. Not only that, the SEC spent $8.6 million in order to collect that $3.7 million. Government efficiency at its finest. The older Bilzerian fought to avoid paying and has since taken refuge in St. Kitts in the Caribbean. Since the 90s, young Bilzerian has been seated atop trust fund money cushions, fooling us all. Just when you thought all you needed was a well-placed beard, it appears too good to be true.
Nope, that is all you need.
Number 8.
While Dan has an impressive Instagram following of 16 million, putting him in the top 50 users, even Dan's cat is more famous than you or me. Smushball, the fluffy love of Dan's life, has a casual 855,000 followers on Instagram. Wait, Smushball has a social media account that people actually follow, you ask? Yes, you heard that right. Good luck competing with that. There is no denying it, Smushball is one cool kitty.
Number 7.
Dan got thrown out of the Navy SEALs. Who makes it 99% of the way, 510 days, and then flushes it down the toilet? Dan does. A few weeks before he graduated from the SEALs, he had an altercation with his commanding officer, calling him a and earned himself a dishonorable discharge. He just couldn't think it. Just because you like something, Dan, doesn't mean you have to go around calling people by it.
Number 6.
No stranger to the jail cell. In his senior year, Dan was arrested, and not for your run-of-the-mill rebellious kid offenses. No, that's too boring. That's not how Dan rolls. No, he had an M16 machine gun in his car on school property. A machine gun. The epitome of random badassery personified. And that wasn't his last time to wear the iron bracelets. He was arrested for allegedly detonating homemade explosives in the Nevada desert, which could have resulted in a felony charge. However, this was reduced to a misdemeanor as part of a plea deal that involved Dan making a public service announcement for the Bureau of Land Management.
Number 5.
Dan's had a taste of the silver screen. In Olympus Has Fallen, he appeared as a stuntman, his recreational forte. The Other Woman and The Equalizer are other films that have been graced by his involvement. He also invested $1 million into the movie Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg in exchange for 8 minutes of screen time. However, this didn't go quite as planned. The producers cut his screen time down to just 1 minute, which threw Dan into a tiz. He sued them for $1.25 million, the money he invested plus interest, but later dropped the charges after he made all his money back from the film.
Number 4.
He's not so stingy with his money. With so much to go around, his loose change helped relieve some of the trauma victims of Typhoon Haiyan. In his 2013 The Robin Hood Project, he gave away $100,000 of his winnings for this cause. He also performed other philanthropic acts such as donating money to the adoptive parents of a paraplegic child and 4 other sick siblings. He is generous with his friends too and is invested in their exploits, the most famous of which was a $2,000 investment for friend Jay Farber, which was 20% of a 10K buy-in for the 2013 World Series of Poker tournament. Jay, also known as Panda, went on to win $5.1 million and gave Dan $1 million and a goat to say thanks.
Number 3.
Dan's had 3 heart attacks. Now I'd like to remind you that this guy is only 35. His first brush with death of this nature was at the sprightly age of 25 when he suffered not 1, but 2 heart attacks in the space of 12 hours. After 5 debaucherous days of sex, booze, drugs, and partying like a rock star, his heart said, "Peace out," and tried to take the shortcut out. His attending physician? Michael Jackson's doctor, Conrad Murray, who coincidentally had treated Bilzerian's grandfather in the same hospital, also for a heart attack. His grandfather didn't make it. Luckily, Dan survived this as well as a second heart attack a mere 12 hours later. I'm not exactly sure what brought on pulmonary embolism number 3, but it occurred en route to Hawaii from Vegas, traveling from one poker tournament to the next, of course. Dan isn't exactly known for his self-restraint, so let's hope that if the 4th one ever comes along, he's kitted out to cope.
Number 2.
Hedge fund manager Bill Perkins made a $600,000 bet with Dan that he couldn't ride his bicycle from the Las Vegas welcome sign to his Los Angeles home, a 278-mile ride, in under 48 hours. Dan claimed he probably spent less than 20 hours on a bike in his life prior to making the bet. He trained with 7-time Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong in exchange for donating $25,000 to one of Lance's charities. Dan started on March 29, 2016 and completed the grueling ride in just 33 hours. There was some controversy over the fact that Dan used a van for drafting because that wasn't discussed as part of the bet, but Bill Perkins conceded that drafting probably only saved him about 6 hours, which means he still would have finished well within the allotted time. The two are already contemplating a double or nothing bet, which might involve walking across America, climbing Mount Everest, or rowing from England to New York. And now for the number 1 thing about Dan Bilzerian that you didn't know. But first, I want to give a shout out to those who answered my last video's question.
Here's a question for you. Do you approve or disapprove of Dan's crazy antics? Why?
Number 1.
At a Hustler photo shoot, he threw a naked porn star model, Janice Griffith, off a roof into a pool. As she was being tossed by Dan, she grabbed his shirt, which may have thrown off her trajectory. Her foot clipped the edge of the pool, and she ended up with a broken foot while Dan escaped unharmed, safely remaining on top of the roof. Janice threatened to sue Dan. A scathing yet hilarious letter, supposedly written by Dan's attorney according to TMZ, says she knowingly accepted the risk and made the choice to do the stunt, and quote, chronologically, she's an adult competent to make it.